Chile's government is coming under extreme pressure as violent street protests show no sign of abating. President Sebastian Pinera's promise of a wage hike and other reforms has done nothing to appease the demonstrators who accuse the police of using excessive force. The protests started last month, sparked by a hike in subway fares. They've since widened into a mass movement against inequality.
Demonstrators clash with police in Santiago, unappeased by the government's latest concessions. Protesters build barricades and police respond. But according to Chilean prosecutors, police tactics do not stop with tear gas, water cannon and arrests. They are investigating more than 800 allegations of abuse by police, including torture, rape and beatings. Chile's president says his government has nothing to hide. He's vowed to investigate crimes committed by police with the same tenacity as they pursue demonstrators who destroy property.
With the same force and rigor, any abuse that has been committed, any lack of respect or excessive use of force will also be investigated by the prosecution and the courts of justice. That's what happens in a democracy with the rule of law.
What started as a protest over a rise in subway fares almost 3 weeks ago has grown into a movement against what many on the street see as the yawning gap between rich and poor and the lack of support for ordinary people. Highways are just one of the many services Chileans pay for directly. Truck drivers block the ring roads around the capital. They say tolls for the roads operated by private companies are too high.
These highway agreements have been in place since 2006. The companies have earned back their investment 8 times over, and they keep charging us, and people are in debt.
Some demonstrators want a new constitution for Chile, one that protects social services and resources from being privatized. For them, increasing the minimum wage is just not enough.
DW's Nicole Fröhlich is covering the story for us in Santiago. She says mistrust of the government and police remains high.
Well, President Sebastian Pinera is trying to appease protesters with symbolic gestures like the approval of minimum wage subsidies. Many see right through him. In recent days, he has embarked on a charm offensive of sorts, giving lots of interviews, visiting victims of police brutality in the hospital. But to many people out in the streets protesting again today, it's too little, too late, and most importantly, it comes from a president that they want gone. The protests actually spread out today. They didn't only take place in the centric Plaza d'Italia square. People also gathered in Santiago's financial district. And what struck me personally the most was how far riot police was driving protesters into residential areas. There were hordes of people that had nothing to do with the protests, hiding out in foyers, not daring to go out in the street, fearing the lingering tear gas or being hit by stray rubber bullets. So there's a deep feeling of insecurity and a huge mistrust in the police force, and that is something the president will have to tackle if he wants to keep these protests from escalating.